Welcome to Norwegian Modeling Bench. This is Kenneth and this is the 20th installment on the CV-6 build. So today this will be then the second part of the island build. It's more like how I sequenced the build than anything else. I hope you had a good summer vacation, at least I did, so I'm sorry that it took such a while since the last installment, but now autumn is coming up, so hopefully getting more back on track on the build. So hope that you enjoy. Please subscribe and comment if you like. So I'm starting out on the funnel, adding the photo etch part on top of the kit part using E6000. Be aware of the direction. There is a bow direction and a stern direction. Then placing it on the part and letting it settle before continuing with the remaining parts for the funnel. First and foremost, there are these rings that you need to install within the openings. So I've just bent them in the beginning and then attaching them using thin CA glue, VMS thin CA glue that is, which I'm using for all my builds. VMS can definitely be recommended. So making sure that the ring is tightly against the plastic, and of course there are some small notches in the edge that you should be aware of in terms of the direction. That will help when adding the rest of the parts later on. So first these going on beneath, align them up and then using thin CA to have some stability before placing them within the rings, as you can see here. Of course there is direction to these, so you need to align the photo etch so they are perpendicular to the middle one. I'm not showing the build of the girder structure above. It is actually quite easy, even though it looks a bit what should I call it, fiddly. But just use time and get the correct angles in place, and then that shouldn't be any big issues really. Otherwise, use some time to make sure that things are properly attached. Also, on top of the funnel itself, you should probably sand that down. Mine wasn't at least flat, and you need to be aware of these things sticking out on the side, that they do not come in conflict with the funnel itself. So as you can see, I've built it all up, it's ready. Also built the mast. I'm not showing that one, it's quite a regular mast I would say, not too much to it, but making sure that it actually fits into the notches. Then we have the back platform. Make sure that you drill out a hole for the brass part sticking out for the radar. Director actually, and then I'm gluing this with E6000 as I usually do when attaching bigger photo etch parts, when I need to have a bit of wiggle room. So having all of these bits and pieces ready, I've not shown the build of each and every of them. Using primer from AK Extreme. I think that yields very good results in terms of how it holds up. Of course, using metal primer before doing this and letting that one dry for at least 12 hours before starting to do the main primer. Then the next thing for me was to add the deck blue color after I've primed this one up. There are a lot of areas that will have deck blue, and then there are navy blue on the other parts. So taking your time to make sure that you have all of these areas covered up, and that's fine. And for the funnel, I'm using dull black, flat dull black. That's also from Scale Colors. I think that is probably the best one in terms of the historical photos I've seen and the appearance of the ship itself in the end. And then the tedious task of masking up all the floorings or the horizontal surfaces. Took quite a few hours to get this done, but at the end it's definitely worth it, not taking shortcuts. And as you can see, I've also covered up some areas on the side where the different houses, or as I said earlier, I'm not sure what they actually are. Using a modeling technique here to get some differences in color when painting, so it's not all uniform navy blue. So this is a typical technique used for that, so you get a bit more modulation in the colors. So painting this up with navy blue before the assembling part can begin. Well, you could of course assemble it all and then paint it up, but there are lots of nooks and crevices on this one, and there are areas where you need deck blue, which is hard to reach in and hard to mask off later on. So then you can see that those gray areas on the sides are where the different observation decks or so on are going. So this one, I would assume it's for flight operations, is a bit tedious because you also have some roof windows that are coming from the platform, and I didn't get the perfect fit on that one. As you can see later on, there is a small gap on the side, which I weren't able to figure out how that actually happened, because all of the other alignments looked to be correct, but okay. Then I wanted to have some crew members inside. Of course, later the ship will get crew members on board, and having people inside all of these bridges and observation decks and so on, I think that gives it at least a bit of an interest when watching a model. It has to be either with crew or totally without crew, in my opinion. Then I'm attaching the side platform, just making sure that it is in the correct height, and then using thin CA to attach it. Also here adding some of these crew members that are going inside the house that I'm going to add afterwards. So these are just some regular Trumpeter figures in 1 to 200 scale, of course. I have some others from KA and Ion I will be using on the ship, for the rest of the ship, that is. Then using some CA on the back side and sliding the house in, so that is definitely enough room for that if the height is correct, and then securing the house with some thin CA glue, as I usually do, as you have probably seen quite a few times already. But I think it's a good way of not getting too much CA around. Since it's so thin, it seeps into the crevices, and you don't see much of the CA lumps and so on that you otherwise might do. Then the railing has been attached, so it's starting to look quite nice if you ask me. So the bridge and the deck, so you can see I've already attached them using E6000 for the floor, for the deck, and this is a bit of a deviation from the Pontos instructions, where they tell you to first add the floor or the deck and then add the bridge. But when testing this out, I think this was the best approach, for me at least. And then securing those minor sides with some thin CA glue. Then was the funnel platform. Sliding it in wasn't any big issues. A bit tight, but no big problem. And then pushing them up a bit so you can tighten that opening from the kit, so it doesn't get a big opening in the side. And then using thin CA again to attach the platform. Then there is a house that goes beneath that platform on the deck. If you have this in the correct height, that shouldn't be any issue sliding it under like this. But of course, you could probably attach the house before adding the platform, but with the risk of scraping up your paint. Scraping, is that the correct word? Probably not. Well. Yeah, and then there are some other minor parts. There are some what looks to be some minor platforms, so you can so the crew can walk on to, I don't know, get in the correct height for these things on the side here, which I'm actually not sure what is. It looks to be some kind of containers or boxes for something. I'm really not sure. I need to check my references on that one. But regardless, they need to be attached and installed. Then pushing in this in the front, the tight is very, very the fit is very tight, so you need to use some force. So this is definitely a good point in time to do that before you have too many details that you might knock off. I were lucky, so nothing were knocked off. And you definitely do not need to glue this in place. I won't pop off anytime soon. Yes, and then I installed these braces on the underside of the gun tubs afterwards, not before adding the deck, because then you would definitely get into a lot of problems doing it like I did, at least. So then we have the searchlight platform going in. Again, same approach with some CA, and then we have this starboard side platform that, well, slides into a notch and just get it in the correct height, and then that shouldn't be any issue at all. I think it starts to look like a really, really nice result, if you ask me. Then there was the stairs on the back side, and as you can see, I started out with the first platform and one of the beams or stanchions, adding those different elevations or levels one after the other, and then attaching the last beam or stanchion before adding the stairs and those last railings that are going on the sides, so keeping those open until, so I had some room to install the stairs. So I would say I like the result. The stairs is a good feature. It adds some interest and detail. and it definitely looks like the prototype. And then there are some bits and pieces going on the deck. I'm not sure what everything is. And I might need to add some colors on some of these things at least. I will check the references there, but first and foremost they have been painted up navy blue. And let's see, before I add any color that might be more correct. At least I'm not totally wrong going with navy blue, I think. So that's it for this time. So moving ahead, I will work on the tripod mast and getting those directors assembled. Before, of course, there will be a lot of rigging and weathering before finalizing the island. But I think this is quite fun. It gives a very good result when comparing to the prototype and historical pictures. So I hope that you enjoyed this one as well. So until next time, stay safe. Bye for now.